Hey, this is the Review Junkie, and today I'll be reviewing the new fantasy adventure movie, The Little Mermaid. As always, my review will be illustrated and the artwork is done by myself. And if you like movies, art, and comic books, please hit that subscribe button because all my reviews are hand-drawn, and I'd like to get to 1,000 subscribers soon so my channel can be official. This movie stars Halle Bailey, Jonah Hauer-King, Melissa McCarthy, Javier Bardem, Daveed Diggs, Jacob Tremblay, and Awkwafina, and is directed by Robert Marshall. This is a non-spoiler review, so everything I discuss will have been shown in the trailer. Absolutely no spoilers. I'll tell you briefly about the plot, the characters, my pros and cons, final thoughts, and if this is worth checking out at your local movie theater. So I'm pretty sure most people are familiar with the story by now, and if not, it involves Ariel, a mermaid who is fascinated by the human world above and falls for a human, Prince Eric. She makes a deal with Ursula the Sea Witch to become human and is given 3 days to fall in love or she'll remain a mermaid forever. Isn't teenage love romantic? Okay. Alright, so I like the original 1989 version a lot, and I did enjoy this version also. And I'd be lying if I didn't say the Disney live adaptations have been a hit or miss for me. And when I found out who was directing this, I got really nervous. Like I almost wet my pants because I had a feeling he was going to mess it up. His movies are so boring and I really struggled to finish them. But this is a basic copy and paste exercise, so I was saying to myself, there's no way he can screw this up. The blueprint is already there. Whew. Thankfully, he delivered. So there are a lot of good things here, and the fantasy fairy tale element is at a level 10. And I think what largely makes it successful is because the roadmap has already been laid out. It's all there. So there's no heavy lifting. And as a live remake adaptation, it just works. It shines because of those original elements and classic songs we've come to love are carried over and brought to life in a different lens by the wonderful cast. They do try to differentiate it by the performances and the newly added scenes. And the lead, Halle, really carries this movie on her shoulders. She is so likable and feels like the girl next door. She's very charming and her personality is very lovable and welcoming, and it comes through on screen. During the second act, when she's unable to speak, she does a lot of acting through her facial expressions, and you feel sucked into her journey. You feel her pain and longing to be with Eric, and it was very well done without saying a word. She's young, inquisitive, and in love, and it was relatable in the sense that she wanted to belong to something she wasn't a part of, and the sense of being on the outside looking in and wishing to be a part of something bigger than your current circumstance translated well. Next is Jonah Hauer-King. He's perfectly cast. He is kind of missing in action. It doesn't really show up till about 1 hour in during the second act. I thought he had a lot of charisma and he played the prince with a heart of gold very well. There were a lot of times where he didn't say much and everything was conveyed through his eyes and it was effective. He was eye acting. He has a puppy dog face and it works. Eric does have new scenes added in, which is great because it wasn't like he was just a pretty face that she wanted to marry. And the leads do have decent chemistry together. I wouldn't say it's mad passion, but it's a kitty crush. Next is the music and singing. It's phenomenal. It made the original a masterpiece, so it was so nice to see those moments recreated again with all new singers doing their own spin. The music just added a lot of personality to the story and just made it so much more entertaining versus just straight dialogue. Eric's new song is great, and I think out of the new songs, that one probably fits the most as if it was part of the original. I will say you may possibly get choked up at some of the songs depending on where you are in life. Next, I like the new scenes, which helped build their relationship and their romance more. And with respect to the three sidekicks, they're really here for comedic relief. They had some good moments in the movie that really put a smile on your face, but I would say that Sebastian kind of steals the show because out of the three, he has the most scenes. Next is Melissa McCarthy. I thought she was good and I felt she really tried and gave a good performance because she can be one note at times and she did enough to stand out. And she didn't turn into her usual self that she always does, which is a foul-mouthed Irish Catholic swearing left and right like a construction worker from Brooklyn. Okay. Lastly, kudos to Disney for taking such a big risk by having a diverse cast, and everything just flowed naturally. It just never felt forced. So I do have some small cons, and the first is the special effects. There were moments where it was great, and they were all the scenes that were shot in the dark because you can't see the flaws in the dark. But when it's a brightly lit scene, you really sense something is off. For example, in Act 1 with Ariel's sisters, nobody looked like they were physically there. They all seemed very pixelated and looked like video game characters. PlayStation 5. Like I mentioned, there are new scenes, and it helped flesh out Eric a bit more, but Ursula doesn't really get new scenes, and I thought that was a missed opportunity for her. And then there were some scenes that were a direct copy and paste, and I actually wish those were longer because they happened so fast where I feel the intended impact was lost in live action. Now, this isn't a con per se, but because I've watched the original before, I kind of already know where everything was going next. So I think some of the unknown mystery is gone when you just know where everything's headed. So this brings me to my final thoughts, and this gets a high 8 out of 10 for me. This movie wins you over by the fantasy fairy tale story, the magical setting, the catchy musical numbers, the performances by the entire cast, and the lead who is ultra charming. The best scenes are between her and Eric, and every moment they aren't on screen, you just want to see them back together. This is something I think kids will really enjoy, and I think many people will find it inspiring seeing Hallie in the lead. So this is a big green light from me, and definitely something to experience on the big screen where it's meant to be seen. So support your local movie theaters and check this out. Thanks again for checking out my review, and if you like, please subscribe. Helps the channel out a lot. Hit that thumbs up button. Feel free to share this with your friends. And if you happen to have a movie you'd like me to review, please let me know. I'd be happy to watch and illustrate it for a future video. Thanks again, and I hope the pictures put a smile on your face.